What's up guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll show you how to make this simple dress with a crisscross neckline. So let's get started. For this dress I'll be cutting the back bodice first. So I folded my fabric into two places and then I'll take the length of the dress. So for mine I'm using 34 inches and then I added 2 inches for seam allowance, so I have 36 inches. And then on this part, I'll take my shoulder measurement. So you divide your shoulder measurement by 2. For mine, I have 8 inches. So I'll mark it here. And then I'll remove 1 inch from the 8 inches. So it's your shoulder measurement divided by 2 minus 1 inch. So for mine, I have 7 inches. And then on this line, I'll take my armhole measurement. So I have 9 inches. And then I'll drag this line down. And then on this armhole line, I'll take my bust measurement. So you divide your bust measurement by 4. Divide your bust measurement by 4. So I have 9 inches. And then add 1 inch to it for seam allowance. To get your waist measurement, you place your tape here and then you mark 16 inches. So on this line, I'll take my waist measurement. You divide your waist measurement by 4. I have 8.5. I'll mark it here and then add 1 inch to it. And then to get the hip measurement, I'll place my tape here again and then mark 24 inches. And then divide your hip measurement by 4. For mine, I have 10.5. And then I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance. And then I'll go ahead and connect the lines together. And then you go ahead and connect the lines together. For the armhole, I'll place my tape here and mark 1 inch for the armhole curve. And then draw a curved line like this down to this place. For the shoulder slant, I'll come down by 1/2 inch. I'll mark it here and then draw a slant line from here down to the 1/2 inch mark. So I'll just draw a slant line here for my shoulder slant. And then I'll go ahead and cut this out. So here's the back bodice. So the next thing is to cut out the front bodice. For the front bodice, you fold your fabric again into 2 places. And then you place your back bodice on it. You place your back bodice 1/2 inch away from the center fold. So I've placed my back bodice on my front bodice and I placed it 1/2 inch away from the center fold. So I have 1/2 inch on this side. I'll go ahead and cut this out on this side. So I'll go ahead and cut out the front bodice. The next thing is to mark out the neckline. So you place your tape here and then you mark out 2.5 inches. And then for the back neckline, we'll use 1 inch. And then you draw a curved line here. And then I'll cut. So I'm cutting both front and back neckline. And then I'll take off the back bodice. For the front neckline, I'll use 4 inches for the depth. So I'll place my tape here and mark 4 inches. And then draw a curved line from here down to this place. and then I'll cut. The next step is to place your tape here and mark 10 inches. So I'll mark it here. And then you cut the center fold and stop here. So you cut your front body center fold and then stop on the 10 inches mark. Then you open up the front bodies. You draw a line from your shoulder to this point, like this, and then you stop at this point. So I'm going to cut off this part. So I'll go ahead and cut off this part. So this is what you will have. And then I'll also draw a line from the armhole down to this neckline. So I'll draw a line like this and then trim it off. So I'm trimming off one of the shoulders. So after cutting, this is what you have for the front bodies. So I'm going to use this part to cut a second part for the front bodies. So I'll go ahead and place my fabric like this, with the right side facing me. And then I'll go ahead and place the right side of my dress to the right side of the pieces. And so after placing the right side to the right sides together, you go ahead and cut. So I'll cut out the other part, which is part B. So here's part A and then here's part B. So the next thing is to cut the facing for the dress. So I folded my fabric into 2 places and then I marked out 15 inches, which is 1 inch away from my waistline. So I'll go ahead and place my dress on it like this. So after placing my front bodies on it, I'll go ahead and cut. And then you do the same for the back bodies. So the next step is to join the facing to the back bodies. So you go ahead and sew the neckline and then you sew the armholes. So after sewing the facing for the back bodies, you go ahead and snip the neckline and then you snip the armholes too. For the front bodies, you go ahead and sew the center fold together. So you sew from here down to the end of the dress. You also go ahead and join the facing together. So you're sewing from this point down to this place. For the front bodies, after joining the center fold, I'm going to place my facing like this. And then you sew from here down to this place. And then for the other side, you sew from here down to this place. After sewing, you go ahead and snip it. You snip this area. You do the same for the other side. Also remember that we're sewing the right sides facing each other. So the next step is to sew this area together. So you're going to take this part, you're going to sew it down and stop at this point, and then you do the same for the other side. So after sewing this area, you go ahead and snip it. Remember, when you're sewing, you stop at this point, and then you flip it inside out. When you flip it inside out, this is what you have. And then you flip your back bodies inside out. And then with the right sides facing each other, you place it like this on the front bodies. So to join the shoulders, you just go ahead and dip your hands in like this, and then you pick the front shoulder. And then you pin it together. And then for the other side, you just dip your hands in the back bodies, and then you take the other shoulder line for the front bodies, and then you bring it out, and then you pin. And then you go ahead and sew from here down to this place, and then you do the same from here down to this place. Just to be clear, you just slide your hands in the back bodies, and then you pick the front neckline, and then you match it up and pin it together, and then you go ahead and sew from here down to this place. And then you do the same for the other side. You slide your hands through the back bodies, and then pick the front bodies, and then you sew, you match it up before sewing, and then you sew from here down to this place. So you're sewing a slant line down. So after joining the shoulders together, we're going to join the sides of the dress. To join the sides of the dress, you take your front facing and your back facing with the right sides facing each other, you match it up, and then you pin it. And then you go ahead and sew from the facing down to the end of the dress. After joining the sides of the dress, you go ahead and hem the bottom of the dress. And that's it. So here's the dress. Please like and share this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not. I love you for watching. Thank you.